Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, it's been a quiet overnight session here, Joel. Just the SPOO's just trading up 0.75 here right now, and believe it or not, the overnight range only 4 points. Been very, very quiet here overnight.
Yeah, I would like to talk just real briefly. Near the close yesterday, it looks like they got a little bit nervous and they punched it down to 1560. But the stocks really didn't move. We popped back up. Now we're trading up a point on the day. Only reference point you have is yesterday's high, 1568. Got within a tick of that in the pre-market. And we're not too far from the overnight low, 1563.75. Below that, we could go to that 1560 number.
And it was a weird day for Apple. If you bring up the chart on that one, it was weak. It actually was stronger most of the day. Obviously got the nice pop up there around 10 o'clock. You can see where it pops about $10. At the end of the afternoon, gives it all back again and then slowly starts to drift back up. So kind of a wild range there for Apple in a 3-hour period. Usually in the middle of the day, there's not much going on, but there was movement in Apple.
Yeah, the street tried to rub that Goldman Sachs, taking it off the conviction buy list down their throat, and they ran it up nicely. But boy, that's a treacherous chart there. To get a run up there like the 438 and then come back down and make a new low, that's just if you're trading that and you made money, congratulations. The only thing I'd like to talk about in Apple, I mean, are we forming another bottom here with these lows? We hit them back in March. We're coming down here again in April, 10 points away off the 419 level. If you're going with the risk rewards, you're risking 10 points down to 419, and if you go with some of these guys' targets, it could go up to 1,000.
Yeah, well, I can go with these guys. Target $1,000, I think's off the table, but I think you do have a reference point. Obviously, if you're picking bottoms on the thing, 419 is the low, and that's where you need to look at. Obviously, maybe possibly exiting it if you're looking at just picking the bottom here. If you're looking at it as an investment, it's a different story. But if you're looking at a trade, you never want to be owning stocks that are making new 52-week lows, because stocks that make new 52-week lows usually continue to make new 52-week lows. So that is not the case here in Apple. Yet the 52-week low, obviously 419. So that would be my bogey on the downside, and I think you just keep using that as the reference point. It's funny, you don't hear anything about the special dividend. You don't hear anything about their cash here lately. I still think they're sleeping on something here, and you could get an announcement coming up, on something with that cash, because they've never really said anything about that yet. It's been very eerily quiet with that cash with Apple there.
They may want to buy premarketinfo.com
Yeah,
or some of it.
maybe. Google had a big day again yesterday, rallied up, got over 800 and started running. We were a little bit concerned that when it broke 800 that, hey, this is looking like not that great on the chart. Well, it turned out it wasn't a breakdown, it was a fake down. So the stock turned around, got back above 800 and ran yesterday, closing very strong at 813.04, is up another 80 cents in the pre-market.
Yeah, found a good support here to double bottom. Made a high at 814.83, so we'll keep an eye on that on the upside. Above that, I think you're looking at the 820 level. I mean, this stock had the high here at 8. I believe it was 819.23 on March 25th.
Yeah.
That probably coincides with the 50 retracement. So not a lot up there until the 820 level, but first we got to deal with 814.83, yesterday's high.
ZNGA flying here this morning, last night announcing that they are launching their internet gambling in the UK. The stock is up actually about 12% right now, up 37 cents. You can see actually when that news broke around 4:40 last night, the stock got the initial lift from 309 all the way up to 321. I saw the headline. I was trying to bid the thing at 312 and 313. It pulled back to 315. You can see it on the little bar. Didn't quite get me. I wish I would have paid up because the damn stock kept running here and is now up at 343.
Oh man, they don't hit bids when the market's going up, man.
That's true. Well, it was pulling back. It got up to 321. I was like, okay, it's coming in. I was just sitting a little bit too low. I wish I would have paid up a little bit more. But it's when you're analyzing these headlines, you're like, well, I'm analyzing myself. I'm looking at the headline. They're going in the UK. Well, that must be good for the stock, but how good for the stock? So obviously, when after that headline, if it's pulled back to scratch, I think I'll probably buy it because I think that's good for the stock as
Right.
opposed to not being there. I just didn't know how good for the stock. So I'm bidding up, about 1%. I should have bid up about 2%, obviously, and now it's up 12%. So I was too cheap again, and I didn't get the fill last night. But these things don't always work out. But the stock is moving here for the longs.
Right, right. Yeah, we've got a high here in the pre-market at 348. We just bump up against that level. You can't really sleep on the volume here, 3 million shares. So
Wow.
that's decent. Yeah, that's decent volume here
Yep.
for Zynga. Going to the dailies to take a look at this chart. Hit $4. Nice round number like $4. Just completely fell out of bed here. Sold off a buck. And now you're coming right back up to this 340 area. I mean, you had a high at 340 just a few days ago on March 28th, and then a high just above that at 345 and 352. So opening up into resistance here at the 350 level. If it cracks through there, I think we can make a run. Wow, all the way over to 360. 362 was another high, but the major resistance here up at that $4 level, and it's to get it up another 55 cents from here, I think would be a little bit overdone. But I like where it's trading here in the pre-market. Might see some profit taking, a slight pullback. To get back down to yesterday's high here was 324. So you easily could fill the gap in this stock on a little bit of a downdraft.
Couple stocks that reported earnings here this morning. Monsanto, MON, is trading up. They actually beat 273 versus 258. The guidance wasn't great, 430 to 450 for full year after the estimates were up at 457. So somewhat a little concerning that the Monsanto guidance wasn't as good. The stock is trading higher though, trading up at 104.99 right now after closing at 103.62.
Yeah, I got an initial spike up to 106.20. Now we've pulled back to the 105 area, just trading up a buck on the day, 26,000 shares. Not a ton of volume for this stock. Looking at the dailies, that 106 that it hit in the pre-market coincides with the pre-market or the high 2 days ago at 106.61. So I'd be using that level. The other high at 106.27. Those are, what do you say? Are those multi-year highs? Let's go to the weekly. Can't find any resistance. Monthly.
2008.
Going back to the debacle days, but 106, 106.27 and 61, the highs of the last 2 days, settling nicely with the pre-market high of 106.20.
Conagra Foods also reported earnings. They missed by 2 cents, 55 cents against estimates of 57. Stock trading down a buck 30 right now, so 35.54 is where it closed. It is down at 34.20. You can see the disaster here. It is this morning. This is a huge move for a food stock. You don't see these things. Basically, this stock is giving back its entire gains from the last month, because at the beginning of the month we were trading right around the 34 level. We've had a slow, steady climb up to 35.60, 35.80. And now we're back down at the 34 level again.
Yeah, you're just sitting on the lows here at this time. 34.18 has been the low, resting at 34.20. So you really haven't got it a bounce yet. Conagra Foods here, nice stove. Look at that climb up here. I'm not sure when it got the Heinz lift, but you're coming back down to this $34 area. You had a low going back at 33.82, 33.82 to 34. I'm almost willing to make a bet here on the bullish side, Dennis. Can I
No,
suck you into a
no,
wager?
these
No?
food stocks,
Okay.
I'm a bullish these things. I'm still bullish. It seems like every
Okay.
time these pull back. Which food stock was the one that was downgraded the other day and it opened right at the lows and just kept rallying? There was a food stock about 3 days ago. Maybe one of our listeners remembers because
General
it
Mills.
was General Mills, was it? So GIS, if you bring that up, that opened up right at the lows on it. I think forget who downgraded it, but somebody major. opened up like at 40. What was that low? It opened right near the low,
Yeah.
48.21. Opened right on the low, and within basically 20 minutes, it already got 50 cents of it back. Obviously, it's trading up 48.81 and not even that far off the highs yet. People just want to own these food stocks. They seem to want to own them, and every time they pull back, they seem to find buyers here again. So I just can't bring myself to make a bearish bet on these things yet, despite obviously the fact that the earnings weren't that great from Conagra.
And also, I mean, there's just a lot of people underwater being short
Oh
this
yeah,
thing. I mean, believe it or not, there are people, that are shorting. Here you get a pause here, triple top.
oh yeah, people use that
Looks
for
like
sure.
it's yeah. So, but let's. That's actually for General Mills.
Yeah,
But
but even the
Conagra,
Conagra, it's
yep, I like the $34 level.
Verizon rumors with Vodafone yesterday. If you bring up the chart of VOD, you can actually see the big spike on it yesterday. Vodafone. There was rumors that Verizon is kicking tires around there, possibly to buy part of the company. The stock got a huge spike on that yesterday. After hours, those rumors were basically declined. Deal reporters saying there's no takeover talks that are happening, and Vodafone fell off significantly here. You can see from 29.40 all the way down to the 27 handle. Has bounced, is trading up at 28.57. And just to go to the Verizon chart, if you can bring that one up too, Verizon actually had a wicked sell-off when this news broke as well after hours. It's trading 49.50, got all the way down into the 48 handle. That was ridiculously overdone for a stock as big as Verizon. It's trading up at 49.30 right now, but it's a little bit of pressure. It's down 20 cents Verizon here.
Okay, wow. These are some crazy pre-market charts to look at. Just looking at Verizon here has had a huge run. 49.26 was yesterday's low. We're just kind of hovering at that level. Looking at 49 as support after that. And the only resistance you see here, 49.38, or excuse me, 49.86 was the high from yesterday. So that's your major resistance. Vodafone, another ADR here, so
Trickier
you're
to
kind of
trade.
playing, you're playing second fiddle here, trading at 28.60. Looking at yesterday's low, 28.73. That should act as minor resistance. Gets back above 28.73. I think all the people that bought it on this boom are choking on it and looking to get out.
Just to update you, Monsanto is actually trading down farther now. It's only up 50 cents here now, pulling back in a little bit farther here. I'm still thinking that guidance here is going to ding them a little bit once the stock starts to settle. It's only up 50 cents now, where it was up over $2 here. Funny how these things, they start to digest the reports and say, oh, well, there's guidance there.
Digest the information on pre-market info, and then they start whacking it.
There you go. Caterpillar downgraded at Goldman Sachs here today. Lo and behold, Goldman making bold calls here lately, downgrading stocks that are weak, upgrading. They're kind of you got to give them some credit here because they go against the street sometimes. Caterpillar has been weak, and Goldman Sachs now jumping on the bandwagon. It's down at $84 here this morning after closing 84.88. You know what I love though? Caterpillar, I was watching the after hours session. The stocks closed at 8 o'clock Eastern. Stock starts trading down last night like 750 on light volume. Like, why is Caterpillar starting to trade down? Then this morning, Goldman Sachs downgrades the stock. You gotta love that, where somebody seems to have the report or have the downgrade before everybody else, because obviously that person that was selling it after hours last night obviously had some information. Maybe it broke last night. I don't think so, though.
No, Dennis, you've been hanging around me too much. Now you're all with these conspiracy theories. You got to knock that off.
All right, so we'll give them a break.
All right.
It's stock.
83.75 was a low on December 4th. We're 25 cents away from that, so let's keep an eye on that level. Since we're talking about cat, we might as well talk about deer. We've been talking about these stocks for a while. They are just bucking the market here. I mean, they are just. That's an ugly looking chart. And look what the market's doing.
When the
What's
market's
that say
going
about
straight
the
up and making new highs, and this thing's on its lows basically of the year. I mean, both of these stocks, just terrible relative strength. These are stocks you don't want to try to own. If you're looking just from a relative strength perspective, these things you do not want to own. I mean, every time these things rally up, they find more sellers. So I'm not sure. Just like the FedEx and UPS, the same story. There is some stocks that are very weak in this market, which is funny because, the market is making new highs. But you look at that FedEx ever since the earnings report, just kind of hanging out here, looking like it's sitting on a cliff almost to me. And the UPS was breaking down. I think it was yesterday too. UPS started breaking down as well. So Some of these stocks not looking that great despite the market sitting up at all-time highs.
Yeah, but just something always bails the market out somehow.
Yeah, you're right.
Just like the health insurers yesterday, which
Oh,
ended up puking
oh.
after the open, by the way. But I don't know if we have time to go into that.
Well, you can bring up the chart of Humana yesterday because it opened right at the highs. It opened right kicking around the 52-week high there, and obviously pulled back right afterwards. You can see the action there. We were talking it was consolidating that whole 82 area. Consolidation helped the stock open, I think, around 82.20 in New York, straight down $2 really. Obviously, it's straight down $3, I guess. 79.10 is where it closed. But a lot of them did open up near the highs. There were a little bit too much buying pressure off the hop, and a lot of those stocks would have faded the opening moves. UNH, similar move there. Actually, I think UNH opened up and ran a little bit, it looks like there. But
You
again,
caught this one though, right?
yeah, I got short WLP, and you know what? I got lucky actually because it went up. I think the open was around 69.70 or 69.60. Well, you can see after there's a bar. It got down to 68.5. I actually made a point on it, but then after that, it ran. It ran for a little bit. Ran up $1.50. So I got really lucky. Bought almost the bottom of that move, and not very often I do that. Usually I sell the bottom. So give myself some props. I bought the bottom, but yeah, so then it ran up afterwards. So I always play those news stocks. I'm a glutton for punishment, it seems like. I don't know if I advise everybody to do it, but I always like trading where the action is, and it seems like there's good action in the news stocks. I always feel like the HFT guys aren't as active in those things. There's still some active, but I think a lot of them are very conservative. High frequency traders don't like risk, and when they're not trading in it, that gives me more of an edge. So that's kind of why I like trading the news stocks. And here, yeah, and then we might as well just move on here so I don't go on a long rant about HFTs. Go on to Facebook here. Facebook is trading up here just a little bit this morning. Rumors kicking around they might get into the mobile market here with a possible phone. Just a rumor, but stock's up 28 cents.
Yeah, they talked about that $25 level, and I was hoping it would hang out there just a little bit, marking the 50% retracement of the move from 1755 up here. I believe it was to 32.51. Hung out there, but not very long. I would still like to see it get back down to this 25 level, have a little bit of consolidation, and then to make the move up. Getting very well-defined resistance, though, in the issue. After trading under 25, he hit 26.28, and then that was backed up by 2 out of 3 highs, 26.12 to 26.17. So we'll just call this whole area 26.20 as major resistance. If you're not going to try and buy it on weakness here around 25, then perhaps a breakout over 26.20 may get you going on the long side.
What do you think on this overall market here today? Might as well finish. Talk about the overall market. What do you think? We made a new high overnight, 1567.75. Are we just going to continue to grind north here? Or is some of these downgrades with Caterpillar and some of these more cyclical weakness that we're seeing in some of the stocks, is that going to start to have its toll on the market here or not?
Oh man, I mean I've been calling it top since like 1400, so it's hard to really pick a top in this market. You have a reference point yesterday at 1568. You've hit 67.75 in the pre-market. Those are your reference points. If you're trying to sell the top, hey, there's what you do. There's your stop out point. So I'm using that 1568. Potential double top right now as we speak. 2.5, 3 points away from there. If not, onward and upward we go. But to close the show, I wanted to do a little rant on AT&T here. I am putting AT&T on my must-own to buy conviction list.
Uh-oh.
They were so nice to me at customer service this morning. As you know, I got my iPhone a couple weeks ago, and I'm not tuning into the wireless networks and everything. So boom, I'm over my usage, kind of big time, and I still have some left on my billing cycle. I called up the people; they were so nice, man. They changed my plan, upped it for $5, got rid of all the usage charges for the month because my wife would kill me, and boom, they're really were very professional. So I'm upgrading AT&T. We do have some resistance at 37.69. We did hit that level. It was an intraday high, I believe, in October. And then you got more major resistance coming up on the $38 level at 37.89 up to 38.
Stock is
so that's my
breaking
rant.
out.
That's my positive rant on AT&T today. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.